Well, there's lots of different phrases for the way that content is being produced, whether it's from traditional editorial teams or in other ways by brands or third parties. And I think it's really key that an audience is intelligent, but at the same time you need to be really honest about why it is something is in front of someone. And that's about a trust proposition that I think a lot of established media owners have. And it's just a good practice thing. I think we're really seeing some people start to agree on what should be labelled, and without making things too unwieldy. So I think the simplest way to look at it is to say there's just content, and a lot of our users, however precious we are, just want the best content, and that can be called many things and come from many different sources. And there are some phrases that we're really comfortable with and people have used for years, whether it's custom content or vendor content, contract publishing as a business. And then there's a bunch of new terms or terms that people hate. So a lot of people out there hate advertorial and advertiser features. You see that often across print and other places. And then there's been some real trends in recent months in the last year around the idea that big brands should be actually being very honest and open, especially when they have huge online communities. And you see that called things like brand journalism and corporate journalism. And I really have my doubts about how much traction that has, but I think what the whole thing proves is that there's many different ways that people are trying to get across messages, and it's not just a traditional advertising voice or a traditional editorial voice. I'm not saying the same people do both, but it's a lot more maybe sophisticated, but certainly mixed up than it used to be. So clearly social media has given people a way to reach huge audiences very quickly, and that could be established publishers, it could also be brands that go direct to people that buy their stuff, frankly. And you see that on popular platforms like Facebook or Twitter, on business side platforms like LinkedIn. I think it is really important that people try and be as honest and open as possible, to say why they're seeding a particular comment, why they're posting a particular video, what's the origin of that content. A lot of people will figure that out. Other people, though, aren't very happy if you're trying to push something across as a certain type of content when really there's another motive. I think we've seen some examples where it works really well, and I think as someone that works for a media owner, I think we've got to be really honest and say some brands have done some really great work, and that's just the way it is. But also I think part of my job is to start being one of the trusted channels that people use. So as well as seeing us as someone will say, oh well, we'll advertise with you, I think some of our partners will say, well, can you give us some advice? You guys know how to communicate. What should we do over social media? What's the best way of doing it? And that's a good place for us to get to. I think it was funny in the debate today, I don't think I remember hearing the phrase editorial integrity once. That's not to say it doesn't exist or we shouldn't have it. I think it's partly because that's a given. And I think also when people use that expression, certainly in broader publishing circles, it feels like a slightly ghettoized expression about editorial teams. It's not, it's really, really important. And I think we're saying that's a given. The broader picture is that people have to trust media brands. Without that trust, we're dead in months. It's a very slippery slope. So pretty much everyone that's part of the AOP, everyone that's involved in UK publishing, understands that, and that's why it's the mature market that it is. And I think that's where our future lies, is still embracing that trust and working with people that want to, for example, advertise with us or work with us in some way, because they know that we have that. But we don't compromise on it just to take easy money. We have to treat it in the right way.